This episode of the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast is brought to you by Echo One Photography. Are you in the Greater Toronto area and looking for some headshots or really any photography needs fulfilled? Well, look no further. Echo One Photography does it all, from headshots for actors and comedians to corporate headshots, even social and dating website profile pictures. That's right. Don't take a selfie. Get it done by a professional. Increase those odds. They'll do it all. Product photography for your business, for e-commerce and advertising purposes. Once again, Echo One Photography does it all. Email Eugene at echo1photography.com today. That's Eugene, E-U-G-E-N-E, at echo1photography.com. Enter JDCH in the subject line.
Message to my mom. Message to my mom.
This is a message for my mother, who's now on Facebook and online, so may very well have stumbled upon this podcast. So, Mom, if you're listening, let me first say that I love you very much. You're a great mom, always have been and continue to be to this day. And secondly, let me ask you to please not listen to this podcast. You know, this is a comedy podcast. It's uncensored. I interview comedians and other creative, fascinating, interesting people, so I don't have any control over what's said. We might discuss some not-so-tasteful topics and have some salty language peppered in there, so you might not like what you hear. So please, I beg you, if you're listening, please turn it off. You know, they say to truly become a great artist, you can't care what other people think of you. And that really begins with your parents. You cannot care what your parents think about your output to truly reach your full potential. So I ask you, Mom, please let me be great by not having to think in the back of my mind that you're listening to this. And if you do choose to listen, just know that I love you very much.
Message to my mom. Message to
such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time.
All right.
Waste of time.
What is up? Coming at you from Lemon Press Studios in the Distillery District, downtown Toronto. That's right, it's episode number 2 of the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for listening to episode number 1. Got some good feedback from some of you. Appreciate it. A lot of people enjoyed my chat with Dave Sidhu. If you haven't listened to it, check that out. How you doing today? Huh? What are you saying? Are you at the gym? Are you driving? Are you driving to the gym? Who knows? Either way, thank you for doing this. For letting me be part of your day. I'm a little frustrated. Actually, really angry. Really angry because... First reason, I just recorded an intro for the last 15 minutes, but I didn't record it. So I was talking away into my microphone, expressing myself in my little studio here, and to no one, no one will ever hear it. Anyway, so let's try this again, and it feels weird doing it again and repeating myself, but whatevs. It's part of the game. And reason number 2, I'm so angry, I can't figure out or seem to be able to put this thing on iTunes. I've been submitting, first episode was released on Friday. I've submitted the podcast on Thursday, the night before, It says it takes up to 24 hours to submit. All weekend, didn't hear anything. Finally, yesterday, Monday, submitted. It worked. It was up there. iTunes. I was so happy. I sent the email out to a bunch of people with a link to it and then advertised it and promoted it. And all of a sudden, I get an email today. My podcast has been rejected from iTunes. And here's the frustrating part. Try to call them. No numbers. You can't call podcast support. You can call Apple and iTunes. And I talked to Ray there, who was a nice guy, but told me that the podcast team does not have phones, I guess. They're that dedicated to podcasting. They do it all through computers. And so now I try to resubmit the feed, and it says it's already been submitted, but it's been rejected, but it's already been submitted, so I can't submit it again, so it's not up there. So, fuck! I can't figure it out, and I've done this in the past before for other people. I'm a techie guy, but for some reason, this time for me, when it's for my own podcast, I just can't seem to do it. And then I try to contact Libsyn, Liberated Syndication, where my podcast is hosted. No phone number either. There's just, nope. We don't do that. Email. Well, that's awesome. Email. You can't email complaints because it's impossible for me to convey my rage enough in a way that you can understand the urgency. I know it's obviously a first world problem that I'm complaining about this. I'm just really frustrated and I'm expressing, okay? So just let me express. And if anyone from iTunes or Libsyn is listening to this, go fuck yourself. That's all I need, another reason to be rejected. Anyway, so hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it'll be up on iTunes or something, somewhere. My guest today was Mike Bennett. I had a great chat with him. Chat it up. He's the voice of Garage Baby and all the jingles that you hear throughout the show. He's a very talented singer-songwriter, and you will enjoy that. That'll be coming up later on. But before, I just wanted to share, I've been going on auditions, commercial auditions, a TV commercial audition, which, man, those things, I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way. I'm sort of new to this auditioning thing, so naturally it's like anything else. It's one of those things I'll just keep getting better as I go out. But I got a new film and TV agent, and she's great, and she's been sending me out quite a bit. And I went on this audition, and it's impossible not to feel ridiculous at these things. Absolutely embarrassingly vulnerable and ridiculous. You know, I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm used to being on stage, controlling the situation, controlling the audience. Auditioning is something completely out of my element, and it's something where you're not really in control. I mean, you have control to such an extent where you get your sides, you study the scene, and you show up and do whatever they say. Anyway, this particular commercial I was auditioning for, it was for this rich kid that asks his dad for, I don't know if I can say the company that with who cares? I'll say it was for a Dodge commercial, for a Dodge Charger. And I'll read you the description, actually. It was for the role of Michael, age range 23 to 29 years old. He's a rich, spoiled brat kid, good looking, nice to watch, relatable, may not have the perfect nose or something odd, standard American, friendly, one of us. Rich kid. Perhaps he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Perhaps he's overly confident or cocky. That's it. That's the description. Anyway, I show up to this audition, and I'm out of my element. I show up. I'm sort of like, I feel like everything I'm wearing is oversized. I feel I'm not feeling in control. So I get there, I sign in, and it's very quick. The process is very, very quick. They introduce me to the camera guy. I go into this room, and it's just myself and this guy behind the camera. And the spot, there's no lines in the spot. It's sort of like, it's the voiceover. So it's like, Michael, I'm Michael. Michael recently asked his dad for a car, and his father said no. And then the camera's on me, and at that point when he says his father says no, my face is supposed to change from sad to devious. Like, oh, I'm like, shit's about to go down. Michael asked his dad for a Dodge Charger, and he said no. Change face. And then it cuts to Michael doing all these things. I'll read some of them to you. It's sort of like different situations where the first one, I'm sitting. Let me read it to you. So the first one cuts to Michael. Michael is sitting on an armchair in front of a jet. The jet engine starts, creating a violent wind that hits Michael. Okay, so this is what they asked me to do. So I'm in an empty room with another grown man. We're two grown men. It's quiet. I'm sitting in an empty chair. And he says, okay, now pretend that there's a giant jet turbine in front of you. And it turns on. And it's blowing like crazy in your face, and you're holding onto your seat, and you're freaking out. And go. And I have to then pretend this is happening to me. So I sort of grab on the chair, and my arms are flailing in the air, and I imagine I look ridiculous. And what I'm thinking of the whole time is, how is this guy not laughing? So he says, all right, now do it again, but this time you're having fun. So I imagine I must have looked just terrified. You know, the rule in commercial acting is that everything's great at all times, no matter what the scenario. Yeah. And here I am looking terrified as shit, freaking out of this wind turbine, like I'm about to die. So I do it again, but this time he's like, you can throw in some noise in there, like a woo or something, just like make it all audible, like and sort of like a laugh, like wah, sort of thing. Anyway. So I do that. Feeling more uncomfortable by the second. And then he says, okay, all right. And he's doing this thing in between takes where he's going, a super, like super, but he's doing it like in a fun way to sort of, I imagine, to lighten up the room, like a super. So I imagine he wouldn't do that if it was really good. Like if Leonardo DiCaprio was sitting in front of him in a room and killing an audition, I imagine he wouldn't from take to take be going, super. I think he's probably feeling for me like, ugh, and trying to make it light. So he goes, okay, do it again, but this time start, and then midway through realize like, oh shit, you might die. So I have to... Again, two grown men in a quiet room, and I'm sitting on a chair pretending that there's a jet engine in my face. So then he gets me to stand, and again he gives me a super, and then he brings me to the next stack. There's like a stack of like these wooden cubes, boxes. And he says, okay, karate chop it, and you break your hand, and you're in pain. Action. So I do the thing, and I dance around in pain. Then he says again, like, okay, do it again, but this time more. And every time someone says more, I already think I look ridiculous and over the top, and someone says more. To me, I just get more in my head. So he says, do it again, but more. So I'm okay. Okay, go. So he just, like, karate chop, pretend my hand's broken, and then he gives me another a super. I now do it again, but this time there's someone off camera that you're trying to hide the pain from. So do it. You chop it's, in the commercial, I guess, it's, I'm chopping these, and failing to chop these cinder blocks. So do it again, karate chop. And I'm dancing around. And this time I actually feel like, okay, I sort of made that funny-ish. Feeling ridiculous the whole time. And then the third thing he gets me to do is he goes, okay, stand here in front of the camera and pretend you're tempting a bunch of dogs, teasing a bunch of dogs with a hot dog. All right, sort of like, no, you can't have it. But then midway through, there's a pit bull and a Rottweiler there, and you tell them to stay, and then you take off running, but you can't actually take off running because we need to see you running, so you have to run and turn your back to the camera, run in place, and look over your shoulder, and make that funny. Go. let me remind you, I'm standing in a quiet room with another grown man, and that's it. So I'm like, I do the thing. Then I imagine the Rottweiler, and I'm like, stay. No, stay. And then I turn my back to the camera and have to run in place and look over. And I have long hair, and my long hair is flopping up and down. I look ridiculous. And I feel even worse. And then he gives me another, a super, thanks for coming in. And that's it. In and out of there in like 2 minutes. It's like a concentrated 2 minutes vortex of embarrassment. And then you're out on the street. You sign out. And you're done. No feedback. You feel insane. I felt like I was doing, like my performance is what they would use. Like they would use that tape to show in acting classes on like what not to do. The whole time I'm thinking, first of all, A, good on you, dude, for not laughing in my face because this is hysterical. I'm a grown man and I'm actually trying. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm actually trying these things. So good on you. And please blur out my face when you show aspiring actors what not to do.
Baby Jeffrey loves to laugh lots. Baby Jeffrey, don't call the cops.
We're sorry.
Park and Fly, Doug speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, Doug. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, this is Jeff. I wanted to get a quote off you for.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Listen, I wanted to get a quote. I'm going to head to Vegas to check out the strippers, and I needed to get a quote on parking my car there for about...
I can't give you a quote. The rates are $15 a day,
Okay.
$75 a week, taxes in.
Okay, that sounds good. And that's all, so I can park there. How much is it for, like, 3 weeks?
It'll be 3 weeks. It's going to be 3 times 75.
3 times 75, so that's $225?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. And what do you
But
have
if
a
you're
size?
over the hours, you'll get an
Yeah.
extra $15 charge.
Oh, that's good. I was just wondering if is there size restrictions or
No.
no size restrictions, so I can park my my rig there.
Your rig.
Yeah, I've got a rig.
Are you bringing a trailer with it?
Not necessarily, but there's a possibility. It depends.
Well, I've got no problem parking the rig. I prefer you don't bring the trailer because we're getting a little crowded. I mean, because we have turning radiuses aren't as good as they should be.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Okay, that's good. So pretty much any day, or do I have to make a booking?
You know,
or?
you don't have, you just show up and park and we'll look after you.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Okay, that's fantastic.
We aim to please.
Oh, that's awesome. What's your name again?
Doug.
Doug. Okay, that's Jeffrey. So I'll probably see you, I don't know, in the next couple of days.
All righty.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. Baby Jeffrey and Doug, they're helping us out over at Parking Fly. So we had both ends of the spectrum with Baby Jeffrey phone calls so far. We had last Friday's episode where the person on the other end decided to call the police. And this week, the complete opposite. He just rolled with it. Wasn't even fazed by it. Yeah, sure, he'll park a baby's rig. No questions asked. My guest today, Mike, the word man of Alcatraz, Bennett, joins me on the second episode here, second guest ever on the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast. We had a very interesting talk. He's, like I said off the top, he's lead vocals in Garage Baby and the voice behind all the jingles that you'll be hearing on the podcast. And he spent quite some time, 18 years in the UK as part of the punk rock scene over there, and he's got a very fascinating, interesting story, so enjoy that. He's also in the middle of the interview. We'll do this fun segment, brand new segment, called Are You Mariah or Yoko, which is very fun with comedian Jen Grant. We'll explain that in a little bit. And Mike wraps up the interview with 2 songs on the ukulele, so enjoy my chat with Mike.
You and me belong, just like the flowers, laughing all day long. People people, I need you loose. Sing a little song, then take a shower. Julie and Dion, Comedy Hour.
All right, everybody. My guest today, friend of mine, and you'll recognize him from the intro of this podcast, actually. Beautiful Waste of Time. That is his art, his creation, his piece. You'll also recognize his voice from all the jingles you've heard so far in this episode. And you might recognize his face. He's the angry face on stage, the one that seems like he's seething. At Say What. If you come check out the Julian Dion Comedy Hour live show every other Wednesday at Say What, he's always on stage. He's very talented. He's got some stuff out there, in solo stuff, group stuff, in bands. You've seen him in Garage Baby and El Bandito. Solo stuff, he's got an album out called Imitation Always Fails, which is very good, by Mr. Bennett. He's got an alter ego, the Wordman of Alcatraz, where he brings you some cool ukulele sounds and a new experimental that he says he doesn't talk about, but what other better place to talk about it than here, Miguel Benitez.
Benitez.
Oh,
Oh
shit,
my
of
God.
course. Yeah. Anyway, my guest.
Here I am.
Here he is. Mike Bennett, the
So
Wordman of Alcatraz.
Basically, it's all coming out now. So I'm the miserable one on stage. I got to work on my face, man. It's the only face I got. I can't.
You didn't know that you were the miserable one? The man
No.
always jokes about that, how you seem like you're held there against your will.
I'm just trying not to offend anybody because everything that comes out of this face in this city very easily upsets people.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? The sky's blue. Oh, it's just the way you say it,
Yeah,
Michael.
I'm sort of like that before I say anything. Like my resting facial expression, everyone's always telling me, "You're so serious.
Yeah.
You're just too serious." I'm like, well, I'm having a blast in my head.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for doing
Indeed.
this.
Thanks for asking me.
I wanted to have you on because I think I'm in love with you.
You
No,
love me.
I do.
Join the
And
crowd.
you have a really extensive career in music, spanning over, what, 30 years, I'm going to guess?
Yeah, plus.
30 plus years. And so I kind of wanted to, by the way, if I show you this at any
Old.
point, this is just to eat the mic a little bit,
Okay. Eat that.
just so we get our levels right.
Okay.
Anyway, that was a little technical
Says
note
something
there,
else.
listeners.
Hello?
So yeah, I know that your story, you've been sort of you're very worldly when it comes to travels and what you do, and when it comes to travels, who am I? Anyway, you've spent quite some time in the UK, so let's go back. You're from Toronto,
Yep.
born and raised,
Yep.
but you left and spent a considerable part of your life overseas in the UK.
18 years.
18 years, holy shit.
Yep.
Tell us about that. What prompted you? No, okay. That was the show. Thanks a lot
Next.
for tuning in, everybody. Join us next week.
Presumptuous as they come. You think I'm just going to roll in here and tell you everything about me? Size 28 sometimes, usually 30.
Okay.
Unless you
What
socks.
what time of year are you at 28? Or
It depends. Usually I try and trim down for the summer.
trim down? How do you trim down? Do you just sort of like fast? Did you?
I don't really know. You got me there. I think it's a genetic thing.
This is what we do here.
Oh,
I
I'm
try to
stripped right
try to
down
fuck
now.
your shit up. I try to.
You c- I'm Maltese, so that's it. It's genetic. There you go. What's the matter with that? Don't be racist.
Nothing. I'm
It's a small
bit-
place.
All right.
Kissing cousins. Who are you gonna marry? So I was wandering around Europe.
Okay, so but what would prompt you? Like, so you started doing music here. What
Yeah.
age did you start playing music?
6.
6. And so, were you in any? You were in the Toronto scene, and what prompts you to move overseas? I mean, are you doing it for a bit here, and you think things aren't working out, or you just want to see the world more? There's a
Yeah. Well, I worked for the TTC, and I had lots of money as a teenager, relatively speaking. In fact, I was making more then than they pay now, I think, in some places. Minimum wage is 12. I was on $13.50 in 1976.
Oh yeah.
So I saved up and buggered off to Europe, got the Via Rail, wandered around, did all that, and then ended up in the UK on the way back and met a Welsh woman and stayed and came back, and we stayed here for a few whiles, and then my son was born, and then we went back to Wales, where his mother was, and stayed there for a long time, and then I stayed in other places for a long time because we realized that we weren't going to be together anymore. And so, yeah, it was, all around, and I had agents in Europe that kept me gigging and running around Europe and the U of K, and yeah, kept me busy, kept me running around.
So you basically did the music the whole time. I know that for comedy, for example, in Europe, the UK specifically, it's sort of going through a boom now. When you were there, was that sort of the case with music? Like compared to North America, were you gigging all the time? Were you making a living? Were you?
Yeah, at times I had jobs in between. You know, I'm a musician, so I have to have jobs. I'm not that successful. I know it doesn't look that way, but I've had over 60 jobs at last count, and I'm still getting them. And I'm still trying to be a musician and creative wanderer at the same time. So most of the money was in Europe, on the continent, with cappuccino and croissant. And not croissant. No, it's a croissant.
It's a croissant.
It's a croissant. So, yeah, most of it was European money because you can cover a lot of ground over there and, you know, move around. The UK is all kind of similar to here, where like London, you got to pay to play.
Right.
And I don't do that. So
no way, really?
F that noise. Yeah.
How much would you pay to play?
Me? I wouldn't. Bus fare. Maybe.
No, but like usually, like on a typical show that you do pay to play, what do they ask?
I don't know.
What's the going rate?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a. I mean, one time there's a, we played in Covent Garden. Three of us went from Bristol. We brought 60 people to the gig, and I asked for a beer, and they said no, and I asked for half a pint, and they said no, and I asked for a Coke, and he charged me £2, and they made money, and we didn't. So I don't do that sort of thing anymore. I try not to.
Yeah.
I don't want to be arrogant, but when you invest every minute and penny of your life for 35 years, you don't want to do it for free. It's a craft.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
That's what I find with artists, like art. People generally take it for, like, they're shocked when you charge them for it, which is so weird. They want you to do these things. The same goes for comedy. They'll always say things like, comedy's so hard. Like, I cannot believe that you do that. That's really admirable. I respect that a lot. And then when you,
Can you get
ask
me
them, and they're like, oh, you want to get paid for it? Like when you charge them to do it, it's like, of course. It's like you said, you dedicate your whole life to it. By the time you actually make it in front of people that's worth anything, it's, so much blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into it. People don't see that. They just think you're just there and it's something you know how to do, so you do it in the corner, and you should do it for free, really.
Yeah,
Why
just like
not?
the garbage man and the butcher and the prime minister.
Yeah.
You should do it for free. Do you find that here that the artists, the creative types are getting lower on the social totem, and you feel that yourself? The esteem, because in some places, if you're a poet in South America, you're held in great esteem.
Yeah, I definitely think that, especially, there's sort of like it's weird, but there is a cap in Canada for what I do, comedy, and you got to really work hard, and it's too bad. A lot of people have to leave, go make a name for themselves somewhere, and people that do have great careers in Canada doing stand-up have usually gone elsewhere for a number of years and come back, and there's sort of like a prestige that comes with that. It's almost like Canada wants you once you've been away for a bit. Like I lived in New York for a few years. As soon as I left, the whole country opened up to me. I could tour anywhere, but nothing had changed. I had just changed other than my address,
Yeah, maybe we got this complex about we like it when people turn their back on us or something like that.
It's weird because it's there. I mean, everything's there. The people are there. There's no reason that it has to be like that, because if you look like at a place like Quebec, I mean, they have a whole star system there. They support their own. They have their own culture. I mean, I know some comedians that have earned great livings. I mean, literally millionaires, and they don't very much, like, they seldom leave the province of Quebec.
Oh, is that because of the cultural thing? You know, they're Quebecois. You are Jacques. You make a joke about the hockey puck, and they're in already. That's easy for them. That's easy. You know, they don't know what it's like here in Toronto.
Right. Well, you know what's funny?
It's like, oh, there's a guy with a guitar standing on his head in doing self-immolation. Yeah, right. Oh, streetcar's coming.
Right. It's funny because the comics that I do know, they have great careers in French, but they all they would all like a career in English. Like, they sort of envy, even though they see the financial success, for some reason, there's something with American culture and making it, like, being successful in that sort of realm. I don't know. The States are very dominant in that sort of, in the entertainment arena.
Well, we're the little guy, aren't we?
We are.
Even though we invented Superman and a lot of other things, like basketball and Crispy Crunch.
Did we invent Crispy
Crunch?
Smarties?
I don't know about Smarties.
They don't have them in the States.
They don't?
No.
See? There you go. Stitch that.
So you're in the UK for 18 years, and you're part of what scene over there? The punk scene? The sort of, because you're a little more of a punk background, if I'm correct?
Yeah. I never wore the uniform, but I was, I was very much into punk, and it informed a lot of what I did. And from 79, I was in the UK, and then resident from 81, which was a fantastic time to be in the UK. I mean, the tail end of punk and new wave, and then new romantics, and then, you know, I'd be watching Top of the Pops, and there's Duran Duran and Michelle Shocked on the same program, or Billy Bragg and The Clash, and to me that made perfect sense, because there's no difference between folk and punk to me.
Right.
So I was still in my formative years. I was, late 20s, early 30s, in the mid 80s, and being in a bonkers country that was struggling economically, and all of that kicking off, and the miners' strikes, and Thatcher, and what have you, and all that, and Don't Fuck With Me, Argentina, and blah blah blah. It was great. It was great because things mattered. Things hit you.
Right.
You voted.
Yeah.
You vote. It's not like Canada where it doesn't matter. I'm still going to live like a king even if I'm below the poverty line.
Right.
Over there, things readily affect you, and it affected me, and it opened my eyes. It's grinding and relentless. The weather's shit. Everything's expensive and nothing works. But you have to have a sense of humor, and they are the consummate... they're the masters of the absurd and the comedic, aren't they? So it taught me as a North America to just shut up and get on with it.
Right.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are very funny on stage. You have a very interesting and engaging delivery in between your songs. Is that something you honed over there more? Are you more forced to, like, fend for yourself when it comes to audiences? Are they less forgiving in a way, or is that just...
I try to contain it more than release it. Do you mean here or in the UK?
Both.
Yeah, in the UK it's appreciated. If they can take the piss out of you and you can take it and laugh, you're in. They love it.
Right.
If you take umbrage, you've had it. And I think that's similar here, and not so much. But here, I don't know. Toronto's different. Coming back in the last 3.5 years, I've almost given up in a way. I don't know what I need to do. Either I'm shit and they just don't like me, or I'm still struggling kind of to make an effort to go, okay, well, here's what I do. I'm not going to change it, but I am thinking, what do you want? What do you need? What do I do? So no, I never did struggle. If they're talking, it doesn't matter where I am in the world. If people are talking, it's their night out. They're paying. They're paying for the drinks. They can do what they want. I was never a fan of hushing or saying, excuse me.
Right.
No, that doesn't bother me the slightest bit.
Especially if it's a night where they don't... sometimes they just go to the place for a pint they're not expecting any live music, and if it's there, great. It's a benefit. It's a bonus. But what I find ridiculous, this happens a lot in comedy. It's sort of an amateur move where someone will be doing a show, because obviously comedy, if the quieter the better, the more engaged and the more attentive the people. That's ideal. But you do these rooms where it's free admission, let's say, and most of these people don't know that they're in for a comedy show. They're just going out for some wings. All of a sudden, there's this guy talking about his cock on stage in the corner,
As you do.
as you do, and
Cock.
I cringe every time I see this, and again, it's sort of more of an amateur move. But when like people are talking and the comic will lose his shit on the audience, it's like, who are you, man?
Who the
It's
hell
like,
do you think you are?
yeah, you're just people. First of all, they're not expecting. What happens, I think, is they'll go on YouTube and then they'll see a famous clip of like George Carlin freaking out at a heckler, which is entertaining and totally fine in that context, because when a George Carlin does it in those clips that you can find, he's in a theater, people are there to see George Carlin, they've paid $75, $100, $150 to see him.
Yeah.
Of course, if someone interrupts the show and heckles, lose your shit. But if you're ambient noise for wing night, you have no place.
Yeah,
freaking out at the
I
audience.
agree. I've always thought that, and the only time I've ever done it was, like you mentioned there, it got to the point where I became acutely aware that it was disrupting other people enjoying. They had come to see me, so I made a point of saying something. But otherwise, if it's just me, I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, you just do your thing. And
Like why don't you just go home?
Yeah,
Why don't you just go somewhere else and talk? Well, whatever. Why don't I just go home? I don't. This is whatever. I don't know. I just do it. I just dish it out. I don't question it, man. I don't, I'm just there. I'm like the flower I'm like a flower in the woods. Yeah. There are a lot of other plants and trees and animals and rodents and bugs and marsupials possibly. And I'm just doing my job in the universe. And then whether I'm seen or unseen, heard or unheard, I'd like to think it really doesn't matter, but I like to get stroked too, because I'm an artist. So we crave and repel,
of course, that
attention we need.
The acceptance, approval.
Yeah, and for you, it's like you're what is it you do? You're a yuck. You're a
comedian.
What do they call it?
A comedian.
Oh, you're a comedian.
Yeah.
Do you find? I mean, I'm sure the people. I'd like to start off saying something unfair, like the people. It's billed. So they're coming. Right. They know the venue they're going to be in. Mm-hmm. They know they're going to get the piss take if they sit near the front. They know it's going to be funny, and you're going to say cock.
Right.
Right. Sometimes I feel I would like that instead of being on a bill playing punk ukulele with a nice sweater, one of the other acts wearing a kitty on her sweater singing folk, and then there's heavy rock, and people don't really know what they came for.
Right.
So you've got to stand on your head to impress them, which I don't do. But anyway, yeah, whatever. That's what we do.
Well, it's kind of the same for comedy. People are often coming to a comedy show, and it is billed, but for the most part, they don't know what to expect. One guy can be clean, one guy can be really dirty, another guy can be, one-liners. So it's all there's no genres. It's not like country night or punk night, or it's still just falls under the umbrella of comedy. So sometimes, it's sort of the same thing where you have that girl with the kitty sweatshirt playing folk. That sort of happens too, even in mainstream comedy clubs. It's sort of like,
Isn't that good though? Like, especially if you go on after, and the contrast is good, and you go out and after Hello Kitty, and my mummy takes her, tissues out on garbage day on a Thursday in the suburbs, and you come out and say, "Cock, here I come," the Julian Dion. The contrast.
Yeah, it's
but
good.
You're very natural. You're very natural at it. You're very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very funny. You make me laugh. I want to be you.
Next time, tell your face when you're on stage.
Yeah, okay, I'll remember that. Miserable face. Well, that's because you pay us so little.
Right.
$2.
Yeah, $2. I think
$2
$2 goes a long way these days.
It does. Skittles.
Mhm.
Almost bus fare. Take me
Almost
2/3 of the
bus
way home.
That's right.
No, I love it. It's great. I feel like Paul Schaefer up there sometimes.
Well, that's what that was the vision when you guys were asked to do it. I'd have 4 Paul Schaefers up there.
We're all 4. We're like 4 frontmen in our band.
If you haven't been to the show, come check it out because it's interesting. It's a comedy show, but Garage Baby's on stage the entire length of the show, and they're all mic'd. And things happen organically, things happen in the moment, and it's for a comedian, it's a little more challenging because it's not just go up, do your set, do your thing. Anything can happen, right? You guys, and we saw that a couple weeks ago, and someone sort of opened it up to you guys and didn't have much to follow up with. And
I thought, oh man, you better be ready for this because we're 4 gnarly old fucks, and we're
That's
gonna
right.
unload on you.
But I love it. It's a really good show. I mean, the dynamic is good. It's getting a lot of buzz around town because of that.
Oh,
because of
good.
you guys.
Because of the miserable guy.
Because of the miserable guy. Everyone's coming to
With
see
his
him.
Face. What made you think you should leave the house with that face?
They all
Bringing it
say, wait till the miserable guy sings so he can belt out a fucking tune.
I'm serious. I'm an artist. Man.
That's right.
I'm. Talk amongst yourselves while I process this misery. People, I've had that all my life. Are you tired?
Right.
You look tired. Yeah, no, that's all I get. I used to work with this Frenchman every morning. Good morning, Michael. You look well. Have you been sick? Every morning, and I never figured out where he came. And I just thought, yeah, like the British sarcasm has got an underlying wink to it, and if you can take it, you're in. The French is just like terror strip.
Oh,
off.
British is so subtle. I love that. Like their humor, their comedy, very, very subtle.
They have a brutal poetry about that culture. They never say anything directly. They never say what they mean. You got to pick up on it, and I love it. Yeah.
Well, and that comes across as in parenting too. Like they're just so repressed, or suppressed.
Yeah.
Did you find any sort of difference in audience when you were over there?
Yes.
For 18 years, yeah.
Massively.
In what way?
They'll let you know immediately where they're at with your gig. If they like it. And there's a very interesting thing like playing house concerts, bars, wherever the gig is. If they like it, like you'll get these up in the north, these guys, the girls are all dolled up and tanned and all right, love, all right, me chicken, and they're all touchy-feely, and the guys are all like Cro-Magnon shaved heads, bulldogs, and like hard as fuck, but they're warm as toast, and they are the ones who will say, shh, 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 hey, the guy's singing here, and I'm like, really? It's just me,
Yeah.
and they're like, no, so like they respect, and they like that, if they like you. And if you can take a joke like they can say, really hard but really warm.
Right.
Whereas I've clammed up a lot since I come back to Toronto because I feel like I'm walking on eggshells in this town.
Right.
Yeah, really and truly. So I don't know. I think there's less of the code. The code over there is much more primal, much more brutal. If you break the code, there's the politeness. But over here, the code, there are so many codes.
Right.
It strikes me as, and so many, I don't want to say facades or cloak of decencies, but there's like the politically correct, the polite, the nice, the new nice, which I kind of envy your job and your craft because they expect you to attack that or at least bypass it or at least not give a shit. I'm wheezing. Hang on a second. Sorry. Yeah.
We'll edit that out.
Did that answer your question?
That did.
Nah.
So you were there 18 years, mid-20s. You got there mid-20s? 21. 18 years. That's, informative. Your drugs, alcohol over there?
Oh, please.
In excess?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm still here, though.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight now. It's very economical, though. It's very economical.
It is economical. I'm the same way.
I can't do it anymore. It's like, I remember taking the dog for a walk here in Scarborough when I was a kid. I'd smoke a big old reefer full of only weed, and then nowadays, on the tour buses, I used to do a lot of crew work with bands in the UK. On the tour buses, we get on the bus. They call me Dusty Sprinklefield. I'd be like mixing tobacco with a oneer, and is this going live, Mom? and I'd be sprinkling and they'd be like, stroll on, mate. Don't put someone, just ease up with it there, Mike. And they're rolling blunts with like sushi mats and full of half a pound in each one. No, I can't do that. I have to be able to think, at least 2 thoughts per hour.
I'm the same way. I mean, I reached a point where it was like, I just felt like I was wearing a lead helmet all the time, that just sort of, but,
yeah, it's too much. So I'm cheap to run these days. Couple of vodkas, I'm done.
Done and done.
Bed. I always thought wouldn't it be great if you one of these people who got leery and loud and staggered home and lost a shoe, and that would be fun. There'd be a reason to get pissed.
Right.
But I don't. I just go to bed.
Right.
I just get tired. I say I'm just gonna party. I even stopped saying I'm just gonna go to the toilet. I just leave. Just
Right.
sneak
Right.
out.
That's the best way to leave any party.
Just
really.
go.
I mean, I am the master Houdini. Like when it comes to parties,
Are you?
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought I was.
I just and people talk to me the
Gone.
next day. Where did you go and how?
Yeah.
I'll even turn my phone off because then you start getting phone calls and text messages. But yeah, it's just so draining the goodbye process at a
Yeah.
party, and people try to convince you to stay, and then you have to say goodbyes with everyone. Yeah, I don't even say I'll go to the bathroom. I'll just duck out.
Yep. Just leave.
Just leave.
Bye-bye.
Show try to make you make an appearance. Get a couple pictures in where you're in the background of the foreground, maybe.
Yeah. Get some free food. Try the dip.
Yeah. And then
leave.
just bounce.
Yeah.
I actually pulled a Houdini one time. Because when I drank, I would get really tired. That's my thing. I would drink a few drinks and then just hit a wall where I'm like, bed now, fuck everything else. I got to go. And I pulled a Houdini because I've only stopped drinking 9 months ago and everything, 9 months. But I was here in Toronto like a year ago with some buddies. There's about 4 or 5 of us walking down the street. And of course, Toronto, cabs everywhere, and I think we're on Queen Street West, and it's me and 3 other guys, and I literally just fell back 10 feet, pivoted, jumped in a cab, and I was gone. Like Houdini while walking with them on the street. Like I imagine for their perspective, they just turn around and they're like, where is he? I was just gone.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I always thought I was the only evil person in the world. Well, Michael, you just left, and we didn't, and you were, and that's so mean. And then I found out my new girlfriend, who is not so new anymore. It's been 25 years. No, it's been since, almost a year. I better remember. Anyway, she said, "Oh yeah, I just leave." And I went, "Oh, it's wonderful."
That's the best.
All right. Okay, so you're in Uttar Pradesh or Paris, and you see someone from Toronto on the other side of the street. What do?
Avoid them.
Nothing.
Fully.
I fucking walk.
Avoid them.
I don't even look.
100%.
I go for a coffee over here. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You're evil. You're wrong. It's wrong. Oh, I just can't believe you did that. Huh. It's not the way you avoided me. I mean, it's not that you avoided me. It's just that the way you avoided me.
Right.
It's the tone. It's the tone. I love it. Okay. Yeah, I got another friend who likes to bail.
Yeah,
That's
it's the
fantastic.
best. It's
It
the
is.
best. And even situations where you would think bailing would be unheard of, like at a wedding. I think that's the best time to bail. I mean, everyone's there. It's gonna take you an hour just to say goodbye. I just like bounce at those things.
Especially if you're in Europe where you got to kiss. Like it's Belgium, it's 3 times.
Right.
Both sides. 1, 2, 1, 2. Is this in stereo?
Seriously?
1, 2. Yeah. Oh
Both-
my God. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
That is too much. 2 is like 1 I can do. First of all, I never know now the etiquette with that shit. Like, do you go in for the kiss? Do you do the half hug? Do you do the handshake? I
It
panic.
depends how she smells
Right.
and if you're related.
Right.
If she smells nice and she's gorgeous, get in there.
Get right in there.
Yeah.
I pulled another Houdini one time here in Toronto again. My 2 buddies, and they knew at this point my reputation, and
They're
we're
just waiting.
yeah, and we're standing on a patio, and they're like, another round. I'm like, nah, I'm all right. I still have like half a pint left. They're like, okay, we're going to go inside, grab a round. Don't fucking go anywhere. I'm like, really? This is, I'm pretty much going to be gone, but for sure when you come back. But I'm like, yeah, no worries. And they go in, sure enough, they come back. I was probably home by the time they came.
Of smoke there. I've gotten in trouble. I got in trouble from the band. I got in trouble from my agent in Holland. I got in trouble. Well, we didn't know where you were. Well, there were 10 of you stood on the corner saying, where should we go now? The whole tourist democratic thing. Yeah. Well, what do you feel like? What do you... Bennett's gone. And I get in shit for it. We were worried. You're grown adults. There's 10 of you. You don't need me to sit there and go, well, what about coffee? No. And you got a cell phone.
Yeah.
And. Well, my mother likes to bring up the stories. I'm sorry to make this all about me.
Please,
But it is an interview.
It is an interview. It is about.
Okay, so dinner table, all the stories come out. There are lots of them. But the chief one is when I was 3 or 4, we went to Vancouver as a family, and I buggered off on the ferry to Victoria. So there's my grandparents, my parents, and the whole boat. The whole ferry's looking for me. Yeah, in my new suit. So an hour goes by, apparently. This is the story. I know it well because it comes out at every dinner table. My mother, thank you. I love her. Anyway, I was driving the boat. I was driving the ferry wearing the captain's hat.
Seriously?
You see? Everything's fine. I'm learning skills here. I saw the sign. Yeah, I saw the sign up the staircase. I remember that distinctly. But I couldn't read. It wasn't my fault. Where's Michael? Overboard. Oh, my God. Announcements and everything.
Seriously?
So, yeah, I'm on the... And somehow the captain didn't make or get the announcements anyway, so I'm driving the fucking ferry, man. I'm getting some skills. You all just carry on looking for me. So I've run off from a very early age, and I'm still getting in shit for it. But I ain't gonna stop.
Why would you? Listen, we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna come back. You're gonna play a couple uke tunes for us. Now, when you play these songs, are we listening to Wordman of Alcatraz or Miguel Benitez?
Yes.
Okay, both. All right, take a short break. We'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
Today's episode is also brought to you by HP Audio. Toronto listeners, here's another one for you. Contact HP Audio today for any DJ services for your wedding, for your private event, for your corporate function, for your corporate luncheon. That's right, luncheon. Contact HP Audio today for your elaborate audio installs and setups. Don't try to do it yourself. That never ends well. Contact the professionals at HP Audio. Email djhpaudio@gmail.com. That's djhpaudio@gmail.com. Enter once again JDCH in the subject line.
This is better.
I know. Exactly.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, we are back, and we're back. We're going to try this brand new segment here. We're here with Jen Grant, JenGrantComedy.com or JenGrant.com. You have a voicemail. Okay, this is actually a new segment we're going to do, and it's Jen's idea. It's her whole thing. So
Don't say it's the whole thing, like as if it doesn't do well, then it's like, this is Jen's whole thing. It's not anything to do with me.
It has nothing to do with me. Anyway, no, I like the idea. It's a good idea. Obviously, it's on here. So we're going to do this segment. We'll drop the jingle. Time now for Are You Mariah or Yoko?
And now, Julian Dion presents Are You Mariah or Yoko? Where we find out from each of your celebrity guests, is it vocal range or vocal strain?
Okay, so this is the premise of the segment. Why don't you explain, Jen, since it's the first one, and we'll be doing this a lot, but explain to the listeners what this is.
Okay, well, you know when you're listening to your earbuds and you're listening to your music and you really love the song and you sing along to it when you're in the car or you're by yourself, you think you sound amazing because you can't actually hear your voice. So you think what you're singing is what you're hearing, which is them, which is an amazing recording and professional singer. Anyway, so this is a little experiment to see, do I sound as good as I think I do?
Okay. So let's see. So we've got in one corner Jen Grant, comedian, and then in the other corner we've got Mr. Mike Bennett, singer-songwriter. I have a feeling how this might go down, but I'm not going to be.
I'm nervous. Okay.
So the song of choice today for both, so it's the same song for both people, is Georgia on My Mind, the Willie Nelson version. Okay,
Yikes.
so I'm going to press play. And again, Jen can't hear herself. All she can hear is the music really loud. And we'll see how her singing is. This is her shower singing in a way.
Oh, boy.
Okay, and I'm going to hit play.
Georgia. Georgia. The whole day through. It's bad, I know, I can tell. Stop looking. No sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia. Georgia. A song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Okay.
All right, that was Jen Grant's submission. That was pretty funny, actually. I think this is going to be a good segment. Now we're going to hand over the cans to Mr. Mike Bennett. We're going to start the song over. So again, the segment is Are You Mariah or Yoko? Which you can deduce what which one is which. You will be needing that, and remember to eat that.
Okay.
Mike.
I can't.
Okay, so you can't hear yourself.
I
right
can't
now.
hear anything.
All right. So
Are
I'm
we
gonna-
on? Is this? Am I talking?
Okay.
I can't hear the song.
Okay, I'm gonna press
There's
play.
nothing. Oh, there's
and-
nothing play.
So go for all. So we were gonna do it for 10 seconds. Jen went for 35. So we'll just. I'll
Where
let
are we
you
going
35.
from?
We're gonna start off the top.
Okay.
So in 3, 2, and
makes
1.
sense.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Georgia. Georgia. The whole day through. I'm Willie Nelson. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I smoke a lot of weed. Willie Nelson. Georgia. Georgia. A song of you comes as sweet. Do you want me to stop? As moonlight through the prunes? Hang on, who wrote that?
All right, that is hilarious. I have to say, yeah,
Did
that
it?
was really good
Yeah.
actually. Well,
Okay, well, of course. What'd you expect?
yeah, I would have to say based on this one here, I'm gonna have to call this one
A draw?
a.
Mine was awful.
It wasn't awful. I'm talking to the mic.
Mine was awful.
I'll have to. Geez, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say Jen is Yoko on this one, and Michael
breaking up.
is Mariah.
We're breaking up.
So that was Are You Mariah or Are You Yoko? We're coming in for a close here. I'd like to. Do you want to play a couple songs, Mike?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna play
Does
at
it
least.
pay?
Oh, it pays.
Okay.
Yeah. Shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh my
Sexy voice.
God, yeah.
You have missed your turn.
Oh, it pays. What if I crank up the low ends when I do
Yeah,
that?
go
What does
on.
that do?
Give yourself some bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Oh shit. Oh.
Bottom.
Yeah, it pays.
Put some reverb
Oh,
on
let's see if I.
there. Wet it with
Reverb.
as they say. Put a bit of repeater on there.
Hello. I don't.
This is the
Oh
Julian
shit. Yeah, it
Dion
pays.
comedy. It pays, baby.
It pays. It pays.
Big
Hello.
time.
Reverb.
Interest.
It's not working.
All right. Fuck.
Um.
It's getting very silly.
Yeah.
Started
Okay.
off, it's a good idea.
And
Besides, I'm
derailed fast.
getting a little
Let
worked
me
up
just
here.
adjust my low ends here. I kind of like it with
I'm
low
out of
ends.
control. Yeah, you should do that.
Okay, so get into if you just want to tell us what the song name is and bring it up to the mic.
Oh, I'm
and
gonna have to do this really high, like this, something like this.
get comfortable.
All right.
And
Well, this.
this is the word man of Alcatraz,
Yeah,
ladies and
this-
gentlemen.
Okay, there's a song called "I Found Money." I was doing some laundry, life's little chores, when I noticed something shiny down on the floor. There were others around, so quick as a bunny, I slipped it in my pocket, smooth as honey. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Our troubles are over. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Our troubles are over. As I was walking down the street, I thought I might get a little something to eat. Once more I looked down. I thought, now that's funny. That little green paper looks just like money. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Yep. Our troubles are over. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Our troubles are over. So after the dentist, I was feeling quite ill, for I was presented with a rather large bill. A stroll in the park would be peaceful and sunny. And then I found a whole suitcase full of money. I found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Yep. Our troubles are over. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. That's right. Our troubles are over. I was at the museum, eating some chips, looking at some artifacts from Egypt, when a cloud of pink smoke comes out of this mummy and he says, you got 3 wishes, it's your lucky day, sonny. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Our troubles are over. Found money. It's as easy as that. I found money. Our troubles are over.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's the. Did you get the ukulele on that?
Yeah,
That was as close as I
100%
could.
picked it up. That's great, man. That was a good jam. So before we play your next one, anything you'd like to plug, good sir? Website, bandcamp.wordman of Alcatraz.
Thank you. I just released a new video. It's a slideshow video because that's easy and cheap. And I got a lot of friends from F-Book to send in pictures of themselves being very silly. So it's just people being
I just
very
realized
silly.
I never did that. You asked me to do it.
Yeah,
Fuck,
well,
sorry.
you're out. I still came here, and we're still friends as far as you think. But I will leave and
Shit.
bail at any time without saying anything.
Well,
You
again, if-
didn't send me a picture, and
Fuck.
therefore, ... I will now forever be preoccupied with some sort of offense.
Shit, sorry, man.
No problem.
And completely forgot about that.
Well, you don't get on top of the pops, do you?
And that's the thing.
That way.
And
So that's coming out. That's out with the song I'm about to play. And it is at as you said, thank you very much. It's at the Word Man of Alcatraz. Just Google it.
just Google
the band-
Wordman of Alcatraz.
The Word Man of Alcatraz. You get 3 pages of this shit because there's nobody else dumb enough to call himself that.
Perfect. And what about your Mr. Bennett stuff? iTunes? You can get that on there? Or
Nope.
No?
Don't to start. I'm officially off Mac.
You're off Mac?
10 years of tolerating their spectacular greed and built-in obsolescence and updates. It's update or die. And I've got 4 devices. And then the recent edition of the... I'm going to
The
get
YouTube
political
album.
on your ass here.
Do
Yeah.
it.
It's not a gift. It's manipulation. And
You're talking about the YouTube album that was
yeah.
forced upon everyone.
yeah.
Right.
And that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So I wrote them a long letter finishing with "fuck you," and I'm canceling my iTunes account, and I'm selling all my Apple stuff. And if I do get another computer, it'll be a cheap laptop because I'm sick of the whole shit anyway. So I'm kind of glad that this is getting me out of the.
When's that song coming out? You have to write an anti-Mac song now.
Cheery. That's cheery. Yeah. Anti-Mac. Anti-Mac man. I'm Mac man.
All right. Well, check him out. Wordman of Alcatraz, Mike Bennett, and play us out.
This is called There's No One Else Like Me. There's no one else like me, and I'm sure you must agree. From Inverness to Waikiki, no one else like me. There's no one else like me. What you get, that's what you see. No hokum or chicanery. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. Neither real nor imaginary. Well, I can't be beat for modesty. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. Up in the air, on land or in the sea. I'm fast as wind and tough as a tree. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. Oh, you could say I am an oddity. Well, I think you'll find its rarity. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. A rinky-dinky-dinky-doodle-dee. On a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no one else like me. There's no one else like me. Not a word of a lie do I tell thee. I beat Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. It's been decided by the grand jury. So just beware of forgery. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. Oh, I could go on endlessly, just like Bohemian Rhapsody, but not like Solomon Grundy. No one else like me. There's no one else like me. And all the world is full of jealousy. From Inverness to Waikiki, from Halifax to Moosonee, from Moscow to Schenectady, from the Rocky Mountains to the Bay of Fundy, Italy, Romany, and Dundee, from Tallahassee to Poughkeepsie, Timbuktu to Timbuk3, from the Okeechobee to Omimi, all the way from Turkey to Albuquerque, Albany, Tuscany, Chamonix, Hackney, all the way from Goose Bay to Moose Factory. No one else like me. Nobody. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for stopping by and doing the
Thank
podcast.
you.
I appreciate it,
It's
brother.
a pleasure. Thanks, Julian.
And watch your head, man. Well, there we go. Show number 2 is in the books. Thank you for listening. Thanks to Mike Bennett for stopping by. Thanks to Jen Grant for that Mariah or Yoko segment. We'll be doing a lot of that. Thanks to Baby Jeffrey. Thanks to you. Again, cannot thank you enough. Shout out to my producer, Adam Fox, sound engineer, Miles Lacroix. Thank you, everybody. What else can I say before I go? Oh, if you're in the Toronto area, come to Say What tomorrow night, Wednesday, September 24th, for the Julian Dion Comedy Hour stand-up showcase. Myself and Garage Baby, who is on the show tomorrow. Trix will be there, Rob Mayu. It's going to be a good show. Fun. One of the best shows in the city. Come check it out, 9 p.m. Say What, 67 Front Street East. Go to jdcomedyhour.com for upcoming epis and also to see who's on the live shows. Twitter.com/jdcomedyhour. Instagram at JD Comedy Hour. Facebook/JD Comedy Hour. All that good stuff. Do it up. Do it up. Hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Mom, I love you. Have a good one. Watch your head.
It's such a beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Wandering eyes and itchy feet. I'm just a thin nervous shadow walking backwards down a street. The landing's bitter, but the falling is oh so sweet. It's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. Now it's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time.
Hi, this is Mike Bennett, and you're listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast.
Perfect. Do one with Wordman. Wordman of Alcatraz.
Hi, this is the Word Man of Alcatraz. You're listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast.
Beautiful. And then maybe one with Miguel Benitez.
Hola. That just came to me. Hola. I am Miguel Benitez. This be the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast.
Fucking awesome.
Gracias. That's the wrong one, isn't it? That's Italian. Hola.
No, that's
The stuff that comes out of my face.